His stepmom hid her jewelry to blame her, but truth exposed the real thief. Lena sat quietly at the dinner table, pushing peas around her plate. Her stepmother Denise kept smiling that fake smile, the kind that made Lena's stomach turn. The room was filled with the smell of roast chicken and something tense, invisible but thick in the air. Her father, Charles, sipped his wine. Brady, her 12-year-old stepbrother, played with his mashed potatoes. Everything felt normal until Denise's voice sliced through the room. "Where are my earrings?" she asked sharply, putting her fork down. Everyone looked up. Lena blinked. "What earrings?" "My diamond earrings," Denise said, eyes locked on Lena. "They were in my jewelry box this morning. Now they're gone." Charles straightened in his chair. "Maybe you misplaced them." "No," Denise said coldly. "They're gone." And Lena was the only one home today. Lena's heart dropped. "I didn't take anything. You've been acting strange lately," Denise continued, her voice calm but full of poison. "Skipping chores, closed doors. You always seem angry." Lena stood up, her hands trembling. "I didn't steal from you." But the room was already against her. Charles didn't defend her. He didn't say anything at all. His eyes were on his plate. Brady looked confused and scared. "Let's not turn this into a scene," Denise said, standing too. "Let's just check your room." "No," Lena said, backing away. "You don't get to search my things like I'm a criminal." "I think," Denise said softly, "that if you're innocent, you have nothing to hide." Lena's chest tightened. She looked at her dad, desperate. "Dad?" But Charles just nodded at her, as if to say, "Let her check." Denise left the room, heels clicking on the floor. Moments later, she returned, holding something small in her hand. "I found them," she said, holding up her diamond earrings. "In Lena's backpack." Lena's mouth opened, but nothing came out. The room swam. "I didn't—" "Enough," Charles said quietly. "We'll talk later." That was it. No yelling, no believing, just silence. Lena sat back down, numb, eyes burning. She wasn't shocked that Denise had lied. She was shocked that her own father believed her. Dinner continued, but the air was dead, and so was something in Lena's heart. Lena used to love this house. She remembered the way her mum filled it with music, laughter, and the smell of homemade cinnamon rolls on weekends. But that version of home faded when her mother passed away from cancer. Lena was just 10, and her world collapsed quietly. Her father, once full of warmth, began to change. Not all at once, but little by little. 3 years ago, he married Denise, a woman who always smelled like perfume and control. At first, Denise smiled a lot, but soon, she started changing things. The first thing to disappear were the framed photos of Lena's mom. Then, her mother's piano was moved into the garage. "It's dusty and unused," Denise had said lightly, brushing away Lena's protest. The house became quieter, not peaceful, but tense. Denise ran it like a hotel with rules. Lena had chores stacked on her after school while Brady, Denise's son, played video games and got praised for resting after school. Denise would host dinners and wine nights with neighborhood women, always speaking softly about her perfect family. At school, Lena kept her head down. She wore hoodies, listened to music, stayed out of friend groups. People thought she was cold or moody. Teachers said she had potential, but her grades slipped. No one knew how heavy home felt. The worst part wasn't Denise. It was her dad. Charles used to be the one who brushed her hair before school, who made bad jokes, who stayed up helping her with math. Now, he just nodded. He avoided anything uncomfortable. When Denise gave Lena the attic room for privacy, Charles said, "It's not so bad." When Lena cried about her mum's photos being gone, Charles said, "Let's not stir up the past." Denise never yelled. She didn't need to. She just looked, judged, removed, and controlled. Lena felt like an intruder, tolerated but not welcome. And no one saw it. Not her teachers, not her dad, not even Brady, who sometimes looked at Lena with quiet sympathy, then quickly looked away. Lena learned to hold everything in, her anger, her sadness, even her memories. She didn't scream, she didn't fight. She just became quieter, colder, sharper. But inside, something was building. Not rage exactly, something tighter, heavier, a knowing, a slow burn. She wasn't going to survive in this house by being kind. She was going to survive by watching, by waiting, by never forgetting. After dinner, the silence in the house was louder than ever. Lena sat on the edge of her bed, backpack open, books still untouched. Her heart was racing, but her hands were still. She didn't cry. She couldn't. The earrings were there, in her backpack, where she knew she hadn't put them. Charles had seen them. He'd looked her in the eye, and he hadn't asked if she did it. He'd just asked why. "Just tell me the truth, Lena," he had said, voice low, more tired than angry. "We can get through this. Just admit it." "I didn't take them," Lena whispered back. Her voice barely made it out of her throat, but Denise was already behind him, arms folded, that cool expression on her face like she was sad for Lena, like Lena was a puzzle she was trying to solve. "Maybe this isn't about the earrings," Denise said softly. "Maybe she's just lost. Maybe this was a way to get attention." Charles had sighed, rubbing his temples. "Lena, I have to call the school. They're going to hear about this, one way or another." By morning, the damage was done. The school called it a serious trust violation. Lena was suspended for a week. Her teachers were concerned. Her friends, not that she had many, didn't message, not that she could respond anyway. Her phone and laptop were locked away in Charles's office drawer. Denise handled it all like a perfect administrator, calm, efficient. She printed articles on consequences and behavioral reform. She cooked healthy meals and smiled sweetly whenever Brady was around. But behind closed doors, the mask dropped. "This is what happens when no one disciplines a child," Denise muttered one night, thinking Lena couldn't hear from the hallway. Charles sighed again. He always sighed these days. "She's just going through something." "No, Charles," Denise replied, her voice sharper now. "She's unstable. She's disrespectful. And now she's stealing. This is exactly what I warned you about. You're just too soft to see it. I'm not sending her away. We have to consider options," Denise snapped. "She's a threat to this household. What's next? Drugs, hurting Brady. You want to wait until she burns the house down." Lena stood frozen, listening from the hallway, heart beating in her ears. Threat. That word hit her harder than any punishment. She wasn't just unwanted anymore. She was dangerous, in their eyes. She closed her bedroom door gently and sat on the floor. The walls were closing in. Every inch of this house felt like it belonged to Denise. Her father had turned into a shadow, following whatever light Denise gave off. And Lena, she was the problem. The lies were so clean, so believable. Even she started to question what was real. She looked at her backpack again, the place where the earrings had been found. She touched the zipper. Denise had gone into her room, had unzipped it, placed them inside, and waited. She had planned it. She had smiled when Lena broke down. There was no one left to tell the truth. No one who'd believe it even if she did. And that's when something in Lena shifted. Not a full plan, not yet, but a seed, a quiet, cold seed. She couldn't cry. She couldn't scream. She could only think. Lena spent days in her room. No school, no phone, no laptop, no voice. Just four walls, the soft buzz of the hallway light, and silence that seemed to crush her from all sides. Charles didn't knock. He didn't even look her in the eye when they crossed paths. He just left her meals on the hallway table, untouched. Sometimes it was Brady who'd slide in, eyes nervous, hands holding a peanut butter sandwich or a can of Sprite. He didn't say much, but the way he looked at her said enough. "I'm sorry. I don't understand, but I see you." Still, Lena didn't eat much. Her stomach didn't work right anymore. Her head didn't either. The only thing that moved was time. She sat on the floor most days, back against her bed frame, staring at the box of her mom's things. The only thing Denise hadn't thrown away or boxed up. Letters, a necklace, a few photos. Lena held one picture close. Her mother, smiling with flour on her cheeks, holding baby Lena in the kitchen. "What would you say to me now?" she whispered. "Would you believe me? Would you still love me if I messed everything up?" The ache in her chest was so heavy, it felt like a rock had taken root there. One afternoon, Brady slid something under her door, his old iPad. It barely worked, cracked at the corners, but it had Wi-Fi and messages, a single ping. "Nina M. Everyone knows. Your stepmom told the PTA moms." "I'm so sorry, Lena." Lena's fingers froze. Her breath hitched. It wasn't just home. It was school. It was out there now. She wasn't just a thief at home. She was a thief everywhere. She didn't respond. She couldn't. Instead, she pulled a notebook out and started writing a letter to her mom. "Mom, I don't think anyone loves me anymore. Dad doesn't see me. Denise hates me. I think she always did. She talks sweet, but it's fake. Everything about her is fake. They think I'm a thief. I swear I didn't touch those earrings. But no one listens. They just look at me like I'm something dirty, Sometimes I think about just walking out, running away. You did it once, right? You always said the world was big, that there's a place for everyone. But what if I'm not meant to be anywhere? What if I don't belong at all? She paused, fingers shaking, tears rolling down her cheeks like they'd waited years to fall. I miss you. I miss your voice, your laugh, your hands. I miss being someone who was loved. She folded the letter, tucked it under her pillow, sat back in the dark, listened to the sounds of the house. Brady laughing faintly in the living room, Denise's heels on the wood floor, Charles's low voice blending in. She got up once, opened her window, stared out. The world looked quiet too. She thought of climbing out, of just walking. But where would she go? What if she never came back? What if no one even noticed? She climbed back in, shut the window, ripped the letter into tiny pieces, let them fall like ash to the floor, then sat in the dark again, not angry, not crying, just gone. It was Brady, the 12-year-old stepbrother, who finally opened the door to the truth. One night, after dinner had settled and the house had gone quiet, he crept into Lena's room. She sat on the floor, eyes glazed, arms wrapped around her knees like she was holding herself together. He didn't say a word at first, just slid a small folded paper into her hand and stood there, shifting his weight. She opened it slowly. The handwriting was shaky, but clear. I saw who really took the earrings. Lena blinked, looked up at him. What? Her voice cracked. Brady hesitated, glancing back at the door. Then he whispered, It wasn't you. I saw Mom. She went into your room before dinner. I thought she was just putting laundry or something, but then I saw her take something shiny from her pocket and zip it into your bag. Lena's heart punched against her ribs. Why didn't you say anything? He looked down, ashamed. She's scary when she's mad. I thought she'd forget, but then it got bad, real bad. You looked so sad. Lena stood slowly, like her body was remembering what strength felt like. You believe me? She asked. Brady nodded. I'm sorry, Lena. I didn't mean for this to happen. She breathed in, then out. For the first time in weeks, something other than pain stirred in her chest. Not hope exactly, not yet, but something like it. Then help me, she said. Help me prove it. He hesitated again, eyes wide. How? She walked over to her closet and dug through the bottom drawer. Beneath some old sketchbooks and worn clothes, she pulled out a dusty, beat-up GoPro. Mum got me this for my birthday when I turned 11, she said. But she took the charger after 2 weeks. Said I wasn't mature enough for it. Brady gave a small smile. Guess she was right. Lena grinned, the first in a long time, then held it up. But I kept the memory card. We charge it with your switch cord. Think you can help me hide it somewhere in her room? His eyes widened. In Mom's room. She brags when she thinks no one's listening. If she says anything, even a little, we can use it. Brady gulped. Okay, but we have to be really careful. They spent the next day planning. Lena drew out a layout of the house. Brady described where his mum usually took her phone call, by the makeup mirror in her walk-in closet. That evening, while Denise was out at her book club, Brady distracted Charles in the garage. Lena slipped into Denise's closet and taped the tiny camera behind the vanity light bulbs, tilted just right. Her hands shook, but her focus was razor sharp. For the first time since the accusation, Lena didn't feel helpless. She felt awake. 2 days passed. Lena barely moved from her room. Brady gave updates in whispers. She's on a call. I think she's talking about you. Finally, after dinner on the 3rd night, Brady came into her room, holding the GoPro like it was gold. She was talking to Aunt Robin. Said, and I quote, I had to fix the Lena problem. You know how dramatic she is. Charles would never believe me otherwise. Lena's heart pounded. You got it? Brady nodded. Every word. I double-checked. It's clear. Lena took the camera, holding it like a lifeline. She looked at Brady, really looked at him. He was still a kid, still scared, but he stood by her. Thank you, she said softly. You didn't have to do this. I did, he replied. You're my sister, even if Mum says otherwise. And for the first time, Lena believed she wasn't alone anymore. Lena uploaded the footage, not to hurt anyone, not even to win, just to make the truth louder than the lies. She chose her moment carefully. Early morning, house quiet, heart pounding. She clipped the GoPro video Brady helped her record. Denise on a phone call, smugly saying, I took care of Lena. Charles thinks she did it. That girl needed to be put in her place. Then she paired it with an audio recording. Denise, whispering to a friend about planting the earrings. She didn't post it online. She sent it directly. One email to the school principal, one to her father's office address. No subject line, no name, just the video, the voice, and the truth. Then she waited. By noon, the house shifted. Charles came home early, pale, distant. Denise tried to greet him with her usual smile, but he brushed past her without a word. Lena watched from the top of the stairs, heart pounding. By evening, the silence shattered. Denise cornered Brady in his room. "What did you do?" she hissed. He didn't answer. She knew. Her voice cracked. "You think Charles will protect you now?" Downstairs, Charles sat alone, holding the earrings in his hand. That night, Lena came down the stairs with her backpack packed. No drama, no shouting. She looked at her father and said softly, "I'm leaving. Aunt Rachel said I can stay, and I will file for emancipation if I have to." Charles's face broke. "Lena, I didn't know." "Yes, you did," she said. "You just didn't want to believe it." She turned to the door. Behind her, Denise called out, voice trembling with rage. "This isn't over." Lena paused, looked back, not afraid anymore, and said, "You're right. It's not." Then she walked out, into the cold night, into freedom, into herself. Charles quietly visits Lena at her aunt's house one rainy Saturday morning. He doesn't knock right away, just stands at the door, holding a weather-worn manila envelope. Inside it, old letters, faded photos, a drawing Lena made when she was 8, things that once lived on the mantel, things that had disappeared after Denise moved in. Lena opens the door. Her eyes narrow when she sees him. No tears, just quiet. "I found these," he says, holding out the envelope. "In the attic, behind a false panel in our closet." Denise hid them. Lena doesn't take them immediately. She steps aside, lets him in. They sit at the kitchen table. Her aunt hovers for a moment, then leaves them alone. Charles's voice is low, heavy. "I should have listened to you, to myself. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to lose her. I was scared of being alone again, of failing, again." He places a single folded letter on the table. It's from Lena's mother, addressed to Charles, written 2 months before she passed. "Promise me you'll protect her, even from the people you love." Lena picks it up with trembling fingers. She reads in silence. Her throat tightens, but her face stays calm. "I didn't protect you," Charles says, his voice breaking. "I failed you and her." She looks at him, her face unreadable. "You did." He nods, accepting it. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to have these." She nods once. "Thank you, that's all." A few weeks later at the school assembly, the principal steps up to the podium. The room is full. Parents, students, staff. He clears his throat. "There was a situation involving one of our students, Lena Morrow, that we mishandled. New evidence has come to light. Lena was not responsible. She is owed an apology from this institution and from all of us who doubted her." Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Denise, seated in the back, stiffens, her face a perfect mask of composure, but her eyes dart nervously. The principal continues. "Effective immediately, Mrs. Denise Morrow has stepped down from all PTA involvement." No applause, just silence. Lena, sitting in the audience next to Aunt Rachel, feels something she hasn't felt in a long time. Not joy, not revenge, just relief, a weight lifted. As she walks through the hallway after, whispers follow her, but this time, they don't hurt. Some kids nod, one teacher smiles. The truth didn't fix everything. It didn't make her whole, but it made her visible, and that was a start. Lena paints on the porch at her aunt's house, soft sunlight falling on her hands. The breeze carries the faint scent of lilacs. Beside her, Brady sits cross-legged with a sketch pad, quietly drawing a tree in the yard. They don't talk much, but the silence between them is warm now, not heavy like before. The canvas in front of Lena isn't filled with darkness. It's not something angry or chaotic, like she used to paint in her room. This one has light, soft color, and space. It's a new start, not to forget the past, but to remember it in her own way. Her aunt brings out lemonade. "You've been out here all morning," she says with a smile. Lena nods. "Feels good." Her phone buzzes. A call from Charles. She stares at it, lets it ring. She doesn't decline it, but she doesn't answer either, just sets it face down on the porch rail. Brady glances up. "You okay?" Lena nods, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Yeah, I think I am." She adds a stroke of yellow to the corner of her canvas. Bright, quiet, steady. She didn't want revenge. She just wanted her voice back, and now she had it. Sometimes the truth takes time to surface, but silence in the face of injustice is its own betrayal. Stand firm, even when no one stands with you, because your voice, once reclaimed, can expose even the quietest lies.